I said, yes, coach, no problem. And like in 5 seconds, I just boom, He just came, hugged me, and then he's saying this is a slap. If it was a slap, I'm not man anymore. If he slapped me while I'm laughing, what are you talking about? I could kill him there right away. Like, when we don't have that problem between us. It's just trash talk and make fight more interesting, and we're all fighters, and of course I want to beat him, he wants to beat me, and we hate each other, but the fight, when his fight is done, I'm good.
Arman Tsarukyan explodes with a brutal warning for Ilia Topuria that he will cut El Matador's face when they meet in the ring. Moving on, when asked about why he lashed out, Arman said the headbutt by Hooker struck a nerve, and he made a mistake by letting his emotions take over. He explains that he should have stayed calm, controlled himself, and avoided reacting physically or trying to show emotion. His coach told him to stay quiet and composed, and Arman agreed, but once the moment came, he didn't stick to the plan.
That was my fault. That was a big mistake. I shouldn't do that, but you can control yourself, especially me. I don't know, on my mind, okay, I'm going there and be quiet. Coach said, be quiet, no emotion, just go there, stay, don't even try to push him or to show emotional. Yes, I said, yes, coach, no problem. And
Arman further explains that he doesn't need much flexibility to land an upkick on Ilia Topuria, since Ilia is shorter, making it relatively easy. However, against taller opponents like Charles Oliveira or Dan Hooker, their height makes the strike more challenging. To adapt, Arman is focused on improving his flexibility through yoga and targeted stretching, ensuring he can deliver precise and powerful kicks regardless of his opponent's reach.
For Ilia, I don't need even flexibility to throw that ups kick. It's easier. He's too short, but Oliveira and Hooker is too long. That's why I was doing a lot of yoga stuff to get more flexibility.
On the other hand, Ariel Helwani explains that nothing is certain yet, and he's not saying Paddy deserves the shot over Arman, but it's just a timing issue. Ilia needs an opponent announced so the UFC can start camp and promotion. Helwani's solution is simple. He talks about putting Arman in the front row, declaring him next, and establishing a clear pecking order in the division.
I am not saying that Paddy deserves this more than Arman, but I'm just saying because he hasn't fought, because Ilia hasn't fought, and I suspect they want to get into a training camp. If they haven't even started one already, I suspect they're going to want to announce this, get rolling with the promotion. There's a lot of history there.
In Arman's defense, he says he's usually quiet, but when someone tries to intimidate him, he reacts instantly. This makes the first few seconds of a face-off tense and unpredictable, especially against a top opponent like Ilia Topuria if that happens.
It's automatically, I cannot control myself first 5-10 seconds. That's why it's a little bit dangerous. On my mind, I'm super quiet, but someone when try to scare me, or to show some crazy things, and I'm going crazy so fast.
Arman Tsarukyan also expresses how he was impressed by Dan Hooker's character. He admired that Hooker handled things like a real professional. He could have just said he was hurt and taken his money, but instead he stayed composed and respectful. Arman appreciates that Hooker stayed like a man and showed integrity.
I was surprised how Dan Hooker is a man. He could just say, guys, I got hurt, just give me my money, I'm gonna get ready for the next one. That's why he has a balls, and I really appreciate it. He's not like a pussy, and he's a real deal, And he said, I like it what Arman did. I was super happy that he stayed like a man.
Arman Tsarukyan responds to Helwani's question confidently that he should absolutely get the next shot at Ilia Topuria. He says there is no way the UFC can give the fight to someone else, as everyone would laugh because he's the #1 contender. Arman emphasizes that he proved himself by performing impressively and defeating Hooker, and questions why the UFC would consider someone else with a fake ranking over him.
Do you think you will be next for Ilia Topuria? Do you think you convinced the UFC to give you the next shot at him?
It's 100% gotta be me. No way they can give petty people that fight. Everybody gonna laugh at them because I'm #1 contender. I proved it again, and do they want from me, you know? And I went there, performed, just destroyed then Hooker, and they wanna put the guy who is fake making ranked.
On the other hand, Ilia Topuria says, so far, he hasn't had any official contact from the UFC regarding a fight. He hasn't been told about any upcoming matchups, so nothing is currently on his horizon. He notes that while he can speculate about possibilities, it also depends on him, who he wants to fight, and that ultimately the matchup will be determined by the interests of both sides.
Apretando, diciendo, a ver, a mí me gustaría que peleara Ilia Topuria en el primer trimestre de 2026. Hay nuevo contrato con Paramount y quieren poner a las mayores estrellas.
Sí, eso lo dijo.
Le preguntaron concretamente en una rueda de prensa y le dijeron, ¿puede ser, hay probabilidades de que Ilia Topuria pelee en enero? Y dijo, hay probabilidades.
Bueno, de momento la verdad que no he tenido ningún tipo de acercamiento de parte de la UFC. No me han dicho nada sobre ningún combate, así que no tengo nada en el horizonte. Me puedo intuir cosas, como siempre, y también depende de mí, ¿no? Con quién quiera combatir, y al final se ponen los intereses de las dos partes.
Furthermore, Ilia also says that he has Paddy Pimblett in mind and would like to fight him if he's not allowed to move up to welterweight to face Islam Makhachev. However, his dream matchup is against Islam in the welterweight division. He adds that he might take another fight first, and then in the summer there could be an opportunity to move up a weight class and fight for the welterweight title.
Yo, mira, pues tengo a Paddy en la mente. Me gustaría pelear con Paddy si es que no me dejan subir en peso welter para pelear con Islam, porque el combate que realmente me gustaría tener es en contra de Islam en la tercera categoría. Pero bueno, vamos a ver, a lo mejor hago un combate y después en verano hay alguna fecha en la que sí que me dejen subir de categoría y pueda pelear por el tercer cinturón.
In conclusion, Ilia stresses that his vision goes beyond just building strong divisions. He wants MMA itself to grow as a whole. He believes this broader perspective can bring a very positive impact, helping the sport reach new audiences and gain more respect. For him, the goal is for MMA to transcend simply being a combat sport, becoming something that resonates culturally and inspires people far beyond just fight fans.
El tema aquí siempre está en empujar el deporte y el que el deporte siga creciendo y no las divisiones, ¿no? Sino en que sea algo más general. Yo creo que va a tener un impacto muy positivo en el deporte, que va a ayudar al crecimiento, que es lo que se está buscando, y puede atraer un nuevo público y realmente trascender más allá del deporte.
Ariel Helwani says that Arman Tsarukyan versus Ilia Topuria is the top fight in the lightweight division, and it's clearly as big as a potential Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia matchup. He notes how popular Arman is in his region and how impressive he looked in his last fight. He adds the UFC shouldn't scrap plans for these key matchups involving Ilia, Arman, Paddy, and Gaethje.
Arman versus Ilia is the #1 fight in the lightweight division. And dare I say, it's close. It's close to as big as Paddy versus Ilia, given how popular Arman is getting in that part of the world and just how good he looked in this fight. And so I say, if we're not doing it on January 24th, and it sounds at least as of now that we're not, scrap those plans. Ilia, Arman, Paddy, Gaethje. What do you say?
On a lighter note, Ariel Helwani talks about Arman Tsarukyan's life behind the scenes, enjoying how he embraces his lavish lifestyle. From luxury cars to high-end travel, Arman balances comfort with competing at the highest level, showing confidence and authenticity that Helwani finds impressive.
First thing you see is him carving up a camel. This guy's carving up a camel in the aftermath, looking like he just went to the gym, hair all coiffed to the side. He's got pomade in there. I don't know what he's got. But who eats camel? Have you guys ever eaten camel before?
Never had, but I'd try it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yo, I would
I'm
never
down for
try.
some camel.
Look at this guy, just eating it.
What is it that you don't like about the camel?
I find camels to be just a little bit dirty. I don't know.
Dirty?
You think the chickens and the
Yeah,
cooks
well,
are
cows
clean?
and chickens are...
I didn't know you could eat camel.
Ariel Helwani points out that Arman's food content is everywhere, and he actually loves it. He says it's fun to see Arman indulging in food, whether it's junk meals or fancy treats, because it shows a different, more personal side of him outside the octagon.
Eating another delicacy. Da-da-da-da-da. There's a little McDo on the plane. Why do we love the food content so much with Arman? Can I just
Who
say,
the fuck is we?
I think I'm the only one on the team that actually is loving this right now.
Yeah, that's right. No, I actually do love this. The McDonald's on the PJ is a big move.
On the other hand, Chael Sonnen also shares that with rumors of a lightweight title fight in January, Ilia Topuria will need an opponent, and while Tsarukyan might be first in line, it's unclear if that puts him ahead of fighters like Paddy Pimblett or Justin Gaethje. He suggests the UFC should publicly announce the next contender before the event to avoid confusion and clearly set up the division's next fight.
But you also have to pick one, and there's a rumor, and the rumor is that in January on Paramount for their debut, they're going to contest the lightweight championship of the world, which means Ilia Topuria will be there, which means Ilia needs an opponent. Now, while we understand that Tsarukyan's in front of everybody else, does that mean he's just in front, period? For example, of Paddy, for example, of Gaethje. And when Tsarukyan comes, and see, the big chance to answer this question and not have to make it a mess is you just make that announcement, you make that decision, and you put it out publicly prior to this fight.
Sonnen also points out that if Arman Tsarukyan fights in January, it could leave Paddy the Batty Pimblett and Justin Gaethje without scheduled fights, essentially putting their next matchups on hold. He highlights how one fight can shake up the plans for other top contenders in the division.
Could definitely make it to the arena in January, and if he does, it does leave Paddy the Batty and it leaves Justin Gaethje both with nothing to do.
Daniel Cormier also shares his views about the potential fight, stating that he sees Paddy Pimblett as an exciting rising star, but he makes it clear that the top two lightweights in the world right now are Arman Tsarukyan and Ilia Topuria. He considers this undisputed, especially with Islam now moving up to welterweight. Cormier stated, "I love Paddy Pimblett. I think Paddy Pimblett's fun. I think Paddy Pimblett has a bright future in fighting, but I believe the two best lightweights in the world, if Islam is now the welterweight champion, it's Arman Tsarukyan and Ilia Topuria, bro." And that's not even in question anymore. YouTuber JG2 also talks about after how Arman Tsarukyan's dominant performance over Dan Hooker. It's clear to everyone except Paddy Pimblett that a fight with Arman should happen. He criticizes Paddy for somehow climbing into the top 5 without doing much, and notes that with Justin Gaethje retiring because he won't get a title shot he feels he deserves, Paddy will likely end up ranked number 4.
Because after Arman Tsarukyan basically, beating Dan Hooker's ass inside the cage and out, it seems to everybody but Paddy Pimblett that, this is a fight to make. But who knows, with Paddy Pimblett this week managing to cockroach his way into the top 5 for doing literally nothing. And thanks to Justin Gaethje making it clear that he's going to retire because he's not going to get a title shot he doesn't deserve, Paddy Pimblett probably going to end up ranked number 4.
The YouTuber says that this potential fight is huge, with the two best lightweights in the division facing off, Armenians on one side, Georgians on the other, and fans divided between Ilia haters and supporters. He notes the fight could be as big as a Paddy Pimblett front row moment, and jokes that Paddy might even end up ranked number 1 despite doing nothing by the time it's over. Regarding the outcome, he hints that if Arman Tsarukyan wins, then Makhachev wouldn't have a say, implying Islam wouldn't get involved.
Either of those, when you got the two best guys in the division, you got the Armenians on one side, you got the Georgians on the other, you got the Ilia haters on one side, you got the Ilia sexuals on the other. This fight couldn't get any bigger, and the potential is endless. I mean, this fight could be as big as, maybe Paddy Pimblett is by the time he's front row watching. And on top of all that, Paddy might even be ranked number 1 for doing literally nothing by the time the fight ends, ready for the champion. And we can sit here and break down how the fight goes, but we'll cross that bridge when I make my awful prediction video the week of. The answer for the question that we're actually looking for here is what happens if Arman Tsarukyan wins? And well, I guess, Ilia Topuria and Makhachev would I guess it won't happen.
So drop your thoughts in the comments. Could Arman Tsarukyan's brutal warning actually lead to a showdown with Ilia Topuria? Is this the moment that finally sets up one of the most anticipated lightweight fights in the division? With tensions high and both fighters ready to prove themselves, the MMA world is watching every move. Are we on the verge of witnessing a fight that could define the division, or is this just the opening salvo? Hit like and subscribe.